Good evening and welcome to Daily Red Devil for all of your latest Manchester United transfer news and talk. Hope everyone is doing well on this Monday evening. We're back with another massive show to bring you, but before we jump into that, please smash a like on the video. Please subscribe to the channel if this is your first time watching. And let's get straight on into it. So on the show this evening, we're going to be reacting to a story saying that Anthony Martial is reportedly going to leave Manchester United in the January transfer window in favour of a move to Saudi Arabia. We'll be talking about that at length. We'll also be having a bit of a discussion in and amongst this community about whether Raphael Varane is being forced out of Manchester United. Obviously, the news broke earlier on today that United will not be extending his current contract. We're talking about that. We'll also be looking at some players that might be joining United in January. Jim Ratcliffe was at Carrington today alongside Sir Dave Brailsford for what are being described as emergency talks. We're still unsure what these talks actually were focusing on, but I imagine they'll be meeting Erik ten Hag saying what kind of business needs to be done in January, what players need to leave and all the rest of it. So we'll be having a little bit of a look at that. Some other stuff to get into as well, as always. There's so much going on. Obviously, the transfer window opened today, so business will now start to be happening, which is obviously exciting. I know some people don't really like the transfer window. They find it a little bit tiresome, let's say, but I think a lot of stuff will happen in this window. I think we have got a lot of things that need to be done, really. We need to bring in players. We need to bring out players. So yeah, we'll be talking about some of the names that we're being linked to. I'll obviously give my opinions on it and all the rest of it. And as always, I'll invite you guys to get in the comment section and have your say on all things Manchester United. So let's start the show off with this story about Anthony Martial then, because this story has just broke in the last 45 or so minutes. Now, this is coming out from 2 or 3 very reliable journalists in Saudi Arabia who've been incredibly good around the Saudi Pro League. And they're reporting that Anthony Martial is now in talks with 2 Saudi Pro League clubs about a January transfer. It goes on to say that there would be no transfer fee. So anybody sat at home scratching their heads thinking, why the hell would we let him go for nothing? Anthony Martial's contract is up in the summer. He will officially be a free agent in June. So he can actually now speak to other clubs and leave as a free agent in June. From what I'm hearing, Manchester United are ready to cut ties with Anthony Martial. And the reason for this is mainly because of his wages. I don't think he really offers us much, let's be honest. When was the last time he really contributed? I can't really remember, to be honest with you. Now, Anthony Martial, £250,000 a week we pay him, £13 million per season. If we were to let him go now for free, and effectively his contract with us was ripped up, we would save about £6.5 million. £6.5 million would be back into Manchester United's transfer kitty, or could then be spent to go and get somebody else on loan, a better player who might actually be able to contribute in the second half of the season. Martial doesn't contribute, and he's leaving in 6 months anyway. So for me, I would let him go. I would. I would have no problem with this whatsoever. I know people at home and in the comment section are going to be like, oh, why are you criticising Martial? We should be able to get some money for him, blah, blah, blah. Like, you just have to look at the situation for what it is. He barely plays any football. He's injury prone. His contract expires in 6 months and he's on ridiculous wages. If we have the opportunity to let him go now and we can replace him with somebody better who's going to offer more, it's a no-brainer for me. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section. How do you feel about this story that apparently we're ready to let him go for free in the January window? Do you think that's the correct decision? Do you think he can offer us something in the second half of the season? For me, 100% let him go. Obviously, on the flip side of that, Manchester United are very, very keen on obviously Guirassy from Stuttgart, who is available for only 15 million euros in the January transfer market. So we could effectively go and get Guirassy now. If we let Martial go, we would save 6 million in wages. Maybe you get a couple of million from a Saudi club, just to soften the deal. 1 or 2 million, just a small amount of money. I know the story that I've just brought you is effectively saying that United would let him go for free. But we'll have to wait and see whether that actually materialises into anything, Obviously, he would comfortably get 250 grand a week over in Saudi. So there's no problems with that whatsoever. And I think the most important thing you have to look at here is, right, this Guirassy guy is earning about 3 million a year at Stuttgart. Maybe you can do some sort of deal where you do a loan to buy. You know, you get him on loan until the summer and you buy him in the summer. Like if Manchester United are really, really short on cash, he's on 56,000 a week, I can see here. Martial's on 250 grand a week. He's going to cost us about 1/5 in wages is what Martial is. So when you look at it like that, I think it makes sense. I really, really do. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Somebody says Martial can go. Irvin says, good decision to let Martial go and save his wages. What's the point keeping him on the bench and paying him? I agree, mate. It's pointless. And he's probably taken up about 3 or 4 people in the physio room at the moment. The one thing I always found really, really funny with Martial, right? And I'm not trying to be harsh here, but after the League Cup, obviously when we won the League Cup last season, there's all these pictures circulating on, on Facebook of all the players together. And the only picture we saw of Martial was him with about 5 physios. That was the photo that Manchester United put out after we won the League Cup. It was Martial in the changing room with 5 of the kind of fitness physios all around him. Ultimately, the people who were probably working with him every single day, you know, trying to get him back from injury. And I just thought, like, obviously it's sad. He could have gone on to be a world-class player. But now you just need to get rid of these types of people, you know. You need to get rid of these people who can't contribute. It's not really his fault, is it? You know, you can't really help if you're injury prone. It is what it is, and we are where we are. But I definitely think, you know, let him go and move forward. That's all we can do here. We need to start thinking positively. But I want you guys to let me know in the comment section, what do you think about this? Would you be happy if Martial went for free now? Or would you rather keep him until the summer, continue pay his 250 grand a week, him probably not play any matches, but would you rather just keep him around? Let me know what you guys think, because I always like to see what you have to say. So yeah, let me know on that one. Next story I want to talk about is Raphael Varane. So the story broke this morning that Manchester United will not be triggering his option of an extra year. Earlier on in the week, we triggered Lindelof's extra year. So Lindelof will 100% be here until June 2025. His contract was set to expire in June 2024, but we have triggered that extension. So that's positive. I think whether or not Lindelof is good enough to play for Manchester United is up for debate. But I think when you've got somebody like Lindelof, only on around 100 grand a week, I think he's the captain of the Sweden international team now, 29 years of age. I think there is still some value there to be had with Victor Lindelof. Maybe not at Manchester United, but you might be able to sell him in the summer. Whereas if we didn't tie him down to a new deal now, he would have left for free. Now, the one really, really important thing here to focus on with Raphael Varane is that Manchester United are reportedly in talks with him over a new contract. But this new contract would not be on the same wage as he was on before. £350,000 a week Varane earns at United at the moment. Absolutely ridiculous. That is crazy. Like, just let that sink in for a minute. 350,000 a week. I know, you know, to an average person, that's uncomprehendable, you know, to me or you. But even when you compare that with other footballers, okay? Erling Haaland, probably the best striker in world football. He's on 375 grand a week at the treble winning Man City. And we're paying Raphael Varane 350. And he probably misses 20 to 30 matches a season. Again, this is just another example of bad upper management at Manchester United. I was very happy when we signed Raphael Varane. I was absolutely ecstatic. But it was very, very clear to see that he was on about 150 grand a week at Real Madrid, one of the biggest clubs in the world, winning Champions Leagues after Champions Leagues after Champions Leagues. They weren't willing to give him a pay rise. So ultimately he left to come to somebody who would give him the kind of money that no one else would. And that was us. We were stupid enough to do that. There is no doubt in my mind that Raphael Varane is our best centre-back. He is probably our only world-class centre-back. Martinez, I think, is in that conversation, but I don't think he's world-class at this point. But I agree that paying him 350 grand a week is not sensible. It simply isn't. We're not in the Champions League. We're not in Europe. We're not probably going to finish in the top 4. We're probably not going to win any trophies. We're going to be hit so badly by the repercussions of not having a successful season that you can't keep these types of players on this amount of money. Now, if Varane is willing to take a reduced contract, you know, say 250 grand a week, I would say keep him 100%. But I understand why United aren't going to trigger this contract extension, because he's still got 6 months left of the current deal. The contract extension would make it an extra 12. So it would be 18 more months at 350 grand a week. I mean, off the top of my head, it's probably going to be somewhere around 30 million in wages that we'd be guaranteeing him between now and June next year. 30 million. That is ridiculous. I'm sorry. That is absolutely ridiculous. When you compare that with Lisandro Martinez, right? Again, I don't think Martinez is world class, but I think he's good. 24 years of age. I think he's a very solid centre back. Probably our second best centre back. Martinez is on 120 grand a week. 120 for Martinez or 350 for Varane. Yes, Varane has won World Cups. Yes, he's won Champions Leagues and all the rest of it. I get all of that. But we aren't the team anymore who can afford to be paying these types of players, these types of salaries. Like, it just simply isn't possible. Whether you think he's world class or not, the conversation has gone out the window. The reason we struggle so much with financial fair play is because we overpay in wages. And wages are such an important factor in the financial fair play calculations. So I actually back Manchester United with this one. He needs to either go, or I'm happy for him to stay on reduced terms. 200 grand a week, I would take that. Everyone who's just joined, please smash a like on the video if you haven't already. It really helps to bring more people into the channel. So if you haven't already, please do smash a like. Please do subscribe. I'm going to drop a link into the chat to subscribe now. I'm going to do that. There we go. There's a link in the chat now. So if this is your first time watching, please do subscribe. I've just dropped a link into the chat. Let's see what else people are saying. Somebody says Varane can only get similar money in Saudi, so it's his choice. Does he want a last massive payday or not? The thing we have to remember, right, is Varane can now speak to other clubs. He can talk to other clubs because he's only got 6 months left of his deal. So Manchester United are playing a risk here, but I'll be honest, for 350 grand a week, I would rather let Varane go. If we can keep him for a 200 on a 2-year deal, I would do it. 100%. I would do it right now. But 350 grand a week is absolutely stupid. It really, really is stupid. Again, I don't want to constantly compare to Man City, but they've just won the treble. They're probably the second richest club in world football. And let's have a look. So they're paying Gvardiol 200 grand a week. They pay Nathan Ake 160 grand a week. They pay Kyle Walker 175 grand a week. Like, Varane is earning double what all of these Man City centre-backs and right-backs and left-backs are earning. And we're not the club at this moment in time that Man City are by way of what they've won, by way of them winning the treble last year. We won our first trophy in 6 years last season, right? The League Cup. You've got Man City out here winning the treble and paying their treble-winning defence half what we're paying an injury-prone Varane. So I think I've said my piece on that one. I back Manchester United with this one. I know some people are saying, it's a disgrace. We're letting go of our only good players. I get it. It's sad. But it's where we are. And you can't continue paying players in a team that's not producing the goods. It's as black and white as that. We're not winning trophies. We're not winning Champions Leagues. We're not winning Premier Leagues. You can't pay people the type of wages they deserve if they're not winning anything. It's as simple as that. Richie says, let Varane go. He's injury prone and well past his best. He's lost pace. I would keep him, but on around 150 grand a week. Yeah, I would agree with you there, mate. I think 150 to maybe 200 at the very, very most would be all I would give Raphael Varane. And really, it should be like 100 plus incentive. If he plays a game, he gets 20 extra grand if he keeps a clean sheet. Because the likelihood is, right, you could give him a new contract and then he might get injured for 3 months. Even then, 200 grand a week would seem ridiculous. So it's a hypothetical one, And for me to be saying this at this moment in time when he's our only fit world-class centre-back, he's been playing well the last couple of weeks. And I'm still saying that I back Manchester United to get rid of him if he still continues wanting 350 grand a week. It just isn't feasible. It isn't. I'm sorry. We can't go on like this. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Would you continue to give Raphael Varane 350 grand a week, or do you think United are making the right decision? Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments. I always read through all the comments, so let me know. One bit of news which is 100% confirmed. Donny van de Beek has joined Frankfurt on a 6-month loan. So all I can say is good luck to Donny. He was a player when he joined from Ajax that Barcelona wanted. They would have signed if it wasn't for COVID and financial issues. I think he was one of the most exciting signings over the last 2 or 3 years. It hasn't worked out, and we just have to hope that Donny goes to we just got to hope that he goes to Frankfurt and does well, because I feel bad for the guy. We've ruined his career. I know people will say, oh, he's a millionaire and all the rest of it, but it still is a little bit sad, isn't it? There is an option where they can buy him in the summer for 11 million euros. I mean, that's crazy, isn't it? We bought him for like 40 million 2 years ago. If he does well at Frankfurt, they have the option to sign him for 11. Madness. But it's just another one, we've got to move on from it. And hopefully this means that more people will now join the club in this window. I did promise we'll talk about some ingoing, so I'm going to jump over to that now. If anybody has any questions or anything they want me to discuss on the show, get them in the live chat now. I will answer a couple of questions before the show ends. So if you have any questions, get them in the chat now, and I will circle back to that in a couple of minutes of time. So quickly on ingoings, there is some positivity around Jean-Claire Todibo. It doesn't look like he'll be moving to Tottenham. That's really, really positive. Although Chelsea have now apparently entered the race to sign Jean-Claire Todibo. Manchester United and Chelsea are apparently battling it out to sign Todibo. We need to get Todibo. We do. We really, really do, especially if Varane might potentially leave. You'd hope that then people like Maguire, Lindelof, you would sell in the summer, and you'd have a starting centre-back pairing of Martinez and Todibo. I'd be happy with that. I would. Will it happen? Maybe. That's all I'll say at this point. Maybe. I would say it's 50-50, to be honest with you, whether Chelsea get him or United get him. I will say this, though. If Chelsea enter the race properly and submit a bid, I would say we need to walk away from this deal. I do, because to be honest with you, Chelsea have got stupid money still. They'll pay 50-60 million for Todibo and won't even blink. Whereas we were all saying it's a good deal for 25-30. If we get Todibo, it needs to be around 20 to 30 million, really. He's had a couple of good seasons in the French league. He's 22, 23. He's not a serial winner yet. He could easily come in and not do very well. So we can't be, splashing 60, 70 million on Todibo. He's not that player for me personally. But let me know what you guys think in the comments section. Do you think that Todibo will come to United, or do you think it's more likely that he'll end up at Chelsea? Tottenham, as I said, are out of the race. They are signing some other guy. I can't remember what his name is, but yeah. Daniel says, no Varane, no Europe, harsh truth. Yeah, exactly, mate. Exactly. Lumen says, Kieran, what if the Varane decision backfires like the De Gea one did? I'm also against giving him 350 grand a week. I think it's slightly different with De Gea and Varane. De Gea had just come off the back of winning the Golden Glove in the Premier League. De Gea never was injured. He was one of the best goalkeepers in the Premier League, and he had a bit of a shaky season, and people wanted him out. I think with Varane, there is absolutely no question that he is a world-class player. For me, the issue is his injuries. And it's just that, really. If he was literally playing 8 out of 10 performances every single game, keeping clean sheets, I would say give him 350 grand a week for one more season. But he's not. All you have to do is look at Varane's injury record, and that just sums it up for me. It's so bad. I've got a couple of friends who support Real Madrid, and they said they said when we bought him that, that we were getting an injury-prone player. I mean, if you look at the 2020, if you look at last season, for example, right? I've just got his stats up here. He missed 16 games through injury. This season hasn't been as bad. He's missed 7 games through injury, so it's a little bit better. But still, when you think that's 7 games this season, and we've only played 19 in the Premier League, so he's effectively missed a third of our games so far this season through injury. And then obviously there's a couple of games where he'll be on the bench because he's not quite ready to play and all the rest of it. So yeah, it's a difficult one for me. Fred says, to put it into perspective, we're paying Varane roughly 700 grand a week, 700 grand per game he plays. Yeah, it probably is something like that if you break it down across the whole season. Maybe not 700, maybe 5 to 6, but yeah, something around that kind of mark. So in relation to the ingoings, obviously Todibo we've just spoken about. Guirassy we spoke about on the beginning of the show. The other players that I would say are somewhat likely would be Sancho going back to Dortmund and Donnell Malen coming in as a replacement. And the other name is one that is really, really hotting up at the moment. The guy is called, forgive me if I say this guy's name wrong. His name is Joshua Zirkzee, right winger, 22 years of age, currently playing football in the Serie A. So far this season in Serie A, he's got 7 goals, 2 assists in 18 matches. So he's averaging a goal or an assist every other game. He's Dutch, so obviously Erik ten Hag knows him well. From what I've seen of this guy, he looks like a really, really good player. Bologna bought him last year from Bayern Munich for only 8 million euros. He's available for around 30 million euros. I think he would be a really, really good player to get. Like, if people haven't heard of him, go and check him out. I think he's one that in the future, if we don't get now, will become a really, really, really solid player. He can play as a striker. He can play as a right winger. I like this guy. I do. So yeah, go and have a look at him. His name is Joshua Zirkzee. Z-I. I'll put it in the chat if anyone's interested. And then the final player that we're really, really being linked to in this window is Giorgio Scalvini, a 20-year-old Atalanta centre-back. Had a really, really good season so far this year. Has just broken into the Italian national team. He's got 7 caps for Italy already at the age of 20. I like this guy. I just think that Todibo is probably the better option, obviously, with the Sir Jim Ratcliffe link. Yeah, I would be interested in him, but whether or not that will happen, I don't think so. I think Todibo is a more likely option. What I want you guys to do, though, is to let me know in the comment section what business needs to be done this season. This transfer window. Who needs to go? Who needs to be brought in? Let me know what your thoughts are. Let me know what you guys think. I'm going to wrap the video up here, guys. I will be back tomorrow morning as always. Thank you so much for watching. This has been Daily Red Devil. Please do make sure to smash a like on the video before you go. Please do subscribe if this is your first time watching. Have a good evening, everybody, and I'll speak to you all tomorrow.